Hello, everyone. This is kind of what would you call this? It's an introduction to the second book that I've written, which is called the Teotihuacan Trade Empire. And Teotihuacan is connected to the Tono Autumn of southern Arizona, which is up in near the Babakiwi mountain range and the Tucson area. In that area, that's Babakiwi right there. As a matter of fact, Eotoi, the creator of mankind, lives in that mountain.
So that's Teotihuacan,
Yeah, Eotoi Ki,
the home of Eotoi.
which means Eotoi's home.
And that's Eotoi in the maze.
Yep, Eotoi, right there.
Okay.
And on this one, I'm showing the connection of Babakiwi and how it's connected to Tenochtitlan down in Mexico, which the people are called the Mexica, or the Spaniards call them the Aztecs, or which is today the modern city of Mexico City, which is the trade zone from southern Arizona directly to the tribes in Mexico by being connected directly to Mexico City itself. Couldn't get better centrally located than that in Mexico. This is the front cover for the book. This is yours truly. Remember that name? Cultee, Quinault Nation. And this is our publishing company. But Cultee, because that's going to be an important part of what I'm going to show here. And I'm just going to read the first page. And I want to, which is dedicated to Charles Cultee, who was Clatsop Nehalem, who's also my great-great-grandfather, who was a member of the Chinook Nation. They had a village at the mouth of the Columbia River. He was the last of the keepers of the knowledge of the Chinook trade network and the Chinook jargon. And he knew Franz Boas. He was his interpreter and guide. And if you notice, he's one of the last people that has the elongated forehead. It's like mine. Mine is slight. They didn't want me to look like a circus freak, so mine's slight. But he wasn't so lucky. He got the elongated, head. That's my great-great-grandfather. This is the Chinook text that was by Franz Boas. Franz Boas is the interpreter. My great-great-grandfather was a guide interpreter for the father of modern anthropology, Franz Boas. And so the reason I'm showing Charles Cultee now is to talk, to show my cousin Larry Ralston and my nephew Mark Christopherson up in Tula, in Quinault, how connected we are by trade just in our family. And what I mean by that, just in my Cultee name. Not even going outside of my Cultee name, with my mother and my dad, because everybody has a mother and a father. And my mother's Loretta Rosander from the Ho tribe, which is connected to the Quileute tribe. Which, it's an interesting lineup, but the main thing is the Cultee name that constantly comes up. Charles Cultee, my dad Stephen Cultee, and yours truly, Roger Cultee. We might be related. So I was just introducing you to my great-great-grandfather, and I wanted to talk to my cousin up in Tula and my nephew, Mark Christopherson, who's helping me with reestablish the Chinook trade network in our local area up there, and with the help of an elder like Larry Ralston, is really valuable. But I'm just going to read just this one little section here, and then I'll go into it, and then I'll show a chart. Charles Cultee was also the guide and interpreter for the father of modern anthropology, Franz Boas. Charles Cultee, Clatsop Nehalem, is my great-great-grandfather. Stephen Cultee, Quinault, is my father, and Loretta Rosander is enrolled in the Ho tribe, which is associated with the Quileutes. is my mother, and as their direct descendant, I, Roger Cultee, as being the last surviving Cultee after my dad, who's passed on, rest in peace. My great-great-grandfather, he's been gone since the 1850s, rest in peace for him too. But I, as their direct descendants, am now taking control of our traditional Chinook trade zones globally for the Cultee family. Not the Quinaults, not the Clatsop-Nehalem, not the Chinooks, not the Ho Indians or the Quileutes. No, I am taking control of the trade zone for the Cultee family. And I, Roger Cultee, will be carrying on the ancient Chinook global mapping legacy from this point on. And what I want to make real clear now is that all of the knowledge that I'm going to be presenting here, I'm going to be putting out in book form. And most importantly, it is all going to be copywritten in Roger Cultee's name. If any tribe wants any of this use, they're going to have to go through me first now. You want to play this game? We can play this game. But I'm going to show you what you're going to lose if you play this game. Now remember what I just said. Charles Cultee, my great-great-grandfather. Stephen Cultee, my dad enrolled in Quinault. And then we got my mother on the other side and the Ho tribe. And from this point on, I'm going to show you the trade zones that we're reclaiming. And I mean reclaiming by tradition, not by treaty, not treaty ratified. No, by tradition, by blood, and by heirship. The way it should have been, like it was in 1491.
Inheritance, tradition.
I know that we got this treaty ratified nonsense, and then we're honoring the treaty while the other side is broken off 586 of them. We're stupid. But let's get off of that. You got to start somewhere. So I'm starting with my grandfather, and then my father, and just within my Cultee family. And from that, I'm going to show you our traditional trade zones that's been in place since the beginning of time, since before the flood. But
So this is the reclaiming of your traditional trade zones.
Tradition. We've been believing the colonial nonsense. I don't know if many people are aware of it, man. If we don't get it off our butts soon, our culture is being disappeared, and sent to the Smithsonian and put in, one of those little paper shredders, and it's spit out into this little Disney version, of how they want us to be, little colonial Indians, the little safe ones that makes the tourists not feel uncomfortable, because us wild ones, make them a little jumpy, because it reminds them of, the good old days when we used to give them flat tops for free. Hey, watch out, we still might have to give them out again. Got plenty of free flat tops to give out yet. But anyway, back to reclaiming the Chinook trade zone. And I'm starting here within my own family. And from this point on, the Chinook charts are going to expand on this. Because everything connected from this point on is going to be claimed as well. Including going to Hawaii. Including going to Angkor Wat. Including going to Mumbai, India. Including going to Memphis, Egypt. Including all of the locations I'm going to be showing you, because it's part of my tradition. We'll start with my dad, Stephen Cultee, my father. Where's he at? From Tohola. And what's right below Tohola? Point Grenville, Washington, which is our tribal beach. And this is the latitude and longitude down here, latitude up there. And there. Point Grenville, my backyard basically, from my dad's side. What's connected by trade just through my father? Let's go and find out. Point Grenville, Grays Harbor, which we're familiar with, which is out where Aberdeen, Washington is at, Mount Hood, Mount Jefferson. This place is 18,250 years old. It's called Rimrock Draw. It's older than Göbekli Tepe. It was here before the Stonehenge or even the pyramids of Egypt were even thought of, let alone built. Then you got Leonard Rock Shelter, and then you got the Hickson petroglyphs, and you got Mount Courant and Little Black Mountain. We're in Nevada now. Now we're in the Payok petroglyphs to the Little Black Mountain. Wapati. Well, now we're in Arizona. And now Montezuma Castle is connected to our trade zone on my dad's side. Point of Pines, Pakaimi, Koyami, Mapimi, San Luis Potosi, and my favorite powdered chili, El Tajín.
That's funny. And that's way down south?
Yeah, that's right on the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh.
This is right next, probably close to Teotihuacan as you can get.
Your favorite chili.
Mm-hmm. And then you over here to Veracruz. What is Veracruz? It was the port city for the Olmecs. And what was over here on this side is Tula. And what is Tula? Seattle Topilson was born in Tula, which is right there on this connection to Veracruz. And then Cocas. And what's over there? It's at the place of where the snake hides. And this is where Quetzalcoatl departed and promised to return from, Quetzalcoatl. What else is important about Quetzalcoatl? It was the heart of the Olmec Empire.
Oh.
The Olmec Empire was directly connected to my people by trade. So the Olmec blood is within my people. You go on down here to 5092, you go a little up to the right to Bonampak, which is up in this area, which is now starting to go toward the Yucatan. Then you go to Puerto Madero, which is right along the Tehuantepec on the Pacific Ocean side, which gives you access to get into the Pacific Ocean. So I took you from that Pacific Ocean to this Pacific Ocean, and all these trade zones all through here. Bonampak, what I was talking about here, is connected to Tikal, which is right up here, which is going up this way. That's what this little red thing. Now that is just the trade zone that's connected to my father's side. Rest in peace, Dad. And that's just from my dad. Now let's go over to Charles Cultee, who I just showed you over there from the 1850s, my great-great-grandfather. And let's find out what he was connected to. So you go to Charles Cultee, he's directly in the very center of what you would call the Chinook Empire. The Clatseps, Nehilim, and the Quinaults were connected, and a lot of the times they recruited people from Quinault to run things in Chinook down here in Clatsep Nehilim, but just another story. We're going to start with my great-great-grandfather, where he's from, and that's near Salem, Oregon, 123, Salem, Oregon. So now, and then there's also the Wenatchee, which is out near, what do they call that place? Wenatchee, that dude was found there from 15,000 years ago. I can't remember the name of the place over there. Oh, well, anyway, Wenatchee is close to a place where the Snake River and the Columbia River all come together.
Well, 15,000 years ago is a pretty long time.
Yeah, and it starts with an H. I can't remember. It was.
Right.
They said they thought he was an Asian, but it was something. But anyway, back to my great-great-grandfather's trade zone. Salem, Oregon, Paisley Caves, another place that's just as old as Rimrock Draw, which is another point. Paisley Cave and Rimrock Draw were our trade points for getting all of our trade down off the ocean and into the American Southwest. American Southwest.
Lovelock Cave.
American Southwest.
Snake Town, that's Phoenix.
So you go Paisley Cave, Black Rock. Everybody knows Lovelock Cave. Those red-haired giants, they weren't red-haired giants. They were red-headed Chinooks who were trading out of that cave. And we just had nasty habits of liking to eat people, you know. And it took us a little while to get over the habits of cannibalizing and eating people. But we're rehabilitating now. We don't do it anymore. So don't worry anymore. We just do it metaphorically. Then Lovelock Cave, that's already established to be an ancient place. Round Mountain was the largest gold concentration of gold in the entire world, and we were going there for that reason. Valley of Fire, Peach Springs, and I found this 34112, I'm still looking up right now, connected to Snake Town, now we're getting into Arizona, the Dragoon Mountains, and then Bisbee, Arizona. From Bisbee, if you go straight on down, it connects you, our trade network, to Easter Island, way down and across the equator that way. But you keep going down this way, my great-great-grandfather's trade zone, then it goes to San Luis Potosi too. We had that in common. One thing about Quinault and my great-grandfather, went to the same place. Then it goes to Zacatlan, San Juan Bautista, Tuxtepec, Laguna, Monunuerto, then the Gulf, Teotihuacan, and I'm probably mangling the Spanish like you wouldn't believe. And there's Puerto Madero again. And Puerto Madero again, Puerto Madero over here. And the Pueblo Nuevo, and this was our way getting to the southern Pacific Ocean from there. And then to the Tequiste, can't even say it. But anyway, it's Guatemala City.
Guatemala City.
Guatemala City. Pueblo Nuevo. And then you keep on going on down. And where does it go? Takes you to Quito, Ecuador. And then to Tumaco. Tumaco is in Ecuador, and it connects you directly to Tillamook. In other words, this is South America's connection into Central America, into Mexico, and all the way up into the southern United States, the Great Basin, all up to the Pacific Northwest coast.
And it's literally a straight line.
And this is my great-great-grandfather's trade zone.
Your latitude's changing by 1, and your longitudes are also changing by 1.
And it's going diagonally.
So it is literally a straight line. And you run out of space here, so then you switch over here.
Continuing.
Yeah. And this is your grandpa's side, and that's your on your dad's side. This is on your mom's side.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then my great-great-grandfather again, Charles Cultee. Now, this is the Chinook Empire. Okay. This is the Nehalem.
The Clatsop Nehalem.
This is from Tillamook Head, which is different from this place up here where this Salem and Tillamook, Oregon are different places. Tillamook Head is out in the ocean to get trade out into the Pacific Ocean. So it's at 123. Tillamook over here is the village that was Nehalem Village. Tillamook was a Nehalem village. But Tillamook Head is an actual, Tillamook Head is easy to remember. It's that big rock in the Goonies movie that's on the beach.
Okay.
Now does that make it easier
where
for people
all
to
the
remember?
gold was, and the ship and the
pirates,
treasure and the pirates. Yeah, I love that movie.
And that beach and that big stone.
That's a beautiful stone.
That is Tillamook Head. That's right there.
That's a sacred. That's a sacred rock.
So now you go from Tillamook Head. What is that connected to? Crater Lake, to Pyramid Lake, which these places are old too, and Lovelock Cave again. Round Mountain, I guess we really like gold because we end up going to all these gold places. Belted Peak is another gold location. Mount Current is another gold location that Quinaults went to. But, we don't know those kind of things. We just traded beans and corn and pottery.
According to anthropologists.
According to modern anthropologists. They were probably the biggest gold dealers in the world. But anyway, Spirit Peak, which is out in Nevada, which gets trade into the Colorado River. Wickiup, now you're in Arizona. And now you're going down here to Casa Grande and the Santa Cruz River, which is down there near central Arizona. And then you hit Madera Canyon, which is right along the border of the U.S. and Mexico. On this side over here is Bisbee. And why Bisbee? You could get gold, silver, copper, turquoise, and all kind of valuable things just going right next to here from there. And why? Once you got what you needed, you go to here at Madera Canyon, you follow it down. Now that you got all your gold that you and turquoise that you want to trade, where do you take it to? You go down to San Luis Potosi again. We sure like this place. My family always ends up. I might have to go down there visit go on a vacation there one of these days. We're always going there. I got to see why. But from San Luis Potosi, where does it take you to go to sell your gold or turquoise? Teotihuacan, the Toltec Empire, but not exactly. Teotihuacan originally was the Olmec Empire. Tula was the Toltec Empire. They get the two Quetzalcoatl's mixed up. Quetzalcoatl, the old ancient one, Teotihuacan. The one reed, Topiltzin, Tula, Toltec. They're two separates. But you go from Teotihuacan, let's say you still have some gold and you traded with them and you got some more things you want to trade. You just keep going. You can go to Monte Alban in Oaxaca, and then you go to Tehuantepec. And where does Tehuantepec take you to? Quito, Ecuador, after you cross the ocean. So everything that's just within my family is connected from all the trade that's going for gold, silver, copper, turquoise, or anything precious and metals and all that. From all South America, Central America, Mexico, the American Southwest, the Great Basin, and all the way up into Oregon and all the way up to the Pacific Northwest coast. Way up here in the Pacific Northwest coast, and I ain't going to say it, but there's a place up here that's real close that does have gold in Oregon. And I found the location on another chart. If you see over here, Coos Bay, it's a little off the beaten path here. Coos Bay is a whole nother chart I'm going to show later. Coos Bay is connected to where the next future Red Messiah is going to appear. And Coos Bay, Oregon. Before that, he showed up as Wavoka and Nevada. Before that, he showed up as Eotoy at Babakibri. Before that, he showed up as Quetzalcoatl in Teotihuacan. Before that, he showed up as Viracocha in South America. And now it's going to end up at Coos Bay. This whole chart that has connected to Coos Bay, it shows all of the Red Messiahs, how they're connected, including Seattle Tupiltzin and where he was actually born, and how he's connected by trade to Tula, and how Tula was connected to the area at Chichen Itza, which, everybody, this guy, Quetzalcoatl, he disappeared, and he didn't exactly disappear. He departed, went across the ocean, but he went in a straight line straight over to Chichen Itza, where he became Kukulkan. Same person, different name. But that's for another one. That's for the Red Messiah chart, which I'll show.
That one is pretty mind-blowing because you've shown that to me.
But this is the beginning of the Chinook trade empire, and as of this moment, the Cultee family is claiming it. It's ours. It's officially ours. It's our tradition. It's been our tradition since the beginning of time. It's been our tradition before the white man arrived, and it's still our tradition today. And I'm trying to start something that's based on what we're dealing with, tradition, bloodline, and heirship, and get away from the treaty nonsense. We're honoring treaties while the white man's breaking them left and right. We're stupid. I'm done.
All right.
Because I'm going to start getting mad.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on this day. Roger, thank you again for sharing your knowledge.
Happy Chinook Empire Day.